This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Bear Boat Alaska. Up your DIY hunting game with one of their 37-foot adventure yachts. You and 5 of your friends can hunt, fish, set crab pots, shrimp pots, and take DIY to the next level. Bear Boat Alaska is locally owned by a Ketchikan resident who lives here year-round. Call Larry at 907-617-4542 or go to bearboatalaska.com. That's B-A-R-E boatalaska.com and tell Larry you heard about it on this podcast. Hunter McWaters, good to talk to you, man.
Yeah, you too, dude. I've been seeing you posting a lot of content and stuff and episodes coming out. I know we've been trying to link up for a while. It's just hard with these time zones. You know what I mean? Like it's 8:30 p.m. here, and it's what is it? What is it out there?
4:30. We got 4-hour difference.
Yeah. It's tough, but hey, we made it work.
There have been a couple times where I've done 4:30 a.m. or 5 a.m. to make it work for people on the East Coast. And so those are a little bit rugged where I just wake up, try to do some push-ups, run a little bit, have some coffee. But, man, like the brain is not totally going yet. And I just feel like I stammer. But, yeah, it's fun to make it work.
No worries, man.
Yeah.
No worries, dude. So, yeah, it's all good, man. The kids just went to bed, so I'm just hanging out. I got a glass of tea to maybe keep me awake a little bit. But,
yeah. What's your spring looking like? Because you're in Virginia, East Coast.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you guys are fully out of spring. You got cherry blossoms and everything going crazy over there. What's on the outdoor schedule?
They're well past.
Are they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's been a little cool recently, but like unseasonably cool for here. But yeah, everything was blooming like probably 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
So
yeah, I guess that makes sense. I went to Washington D.C. for close up when I was in high school, and I remember the cherry blossoms, and my brother went to school back there at GW, and my cousin did too, so I remember some of that spring stuff, and I spent a couple summers back there working and interning, so
yeah,
kind of familiar with the area.
Cold up where you are?
It was 51, 52 today, pretty sunny and nice day, so
cool, man.
It was good.
That's good. Yeah, it's nice down here. I mean, I like it. I grew up kind of in this area, not exactly here, but about 4 hours south of here. So I actually grew up on the water, which I miss the water a lot. Like I feel like a part of me is missing, but as my wife would say, I replaced it with the mountains.
Yeah. What were you doing on the water? Were you like fishing, just hanging out by it? What was the?
Yeah, like I literally grew up. My house was surrounded on 3 sides by salt marsh. So I grew up with just the Red Ryder BB gun, like literally just in the marsh. I used to hunt fiddler crabs, these little crabs like this big with my Red Ryder. And I was so good I could hit them from like 30 yards, like consistently. And I would trophy hunt for the biggest clawed ones. And I even had a whole string of claws. I would get the claw off, drill a hole in it, and put on a string. And I had a whole string of these huge fiddler crab claws. But yeah, just stuff like that, man. And then my dad got me into waterfowl hunting, and I was around boats and on boats and swimming. I just kind of grew up in that environment. It was a beach town, went to the ocean a lot, fishing. So just all that stuff.
Yeah. The perception, I think, is that anybody that's down south, especially back east, grew up in just nonstop pavement and didn't have those same memories of that you have to get like west of Missouri or something like that to have a childhood that involved a Red Ryder and this and that, but that's really not true.
Way.
The Appalachian Mountains and Virginia is absolutely beautiful. You get out of the D.C. area, even the D.C. area, because the regulations that forbid buildings that are taller than, I think, was it the Capitol, I think, it just makes it very unassuming. It's a big, powerful city, but it's so many trees and so many white-tailed deer. It's actually a lot more wild than people give it credit for.
It feels pretty suburban, and where I am, I'm like 45 minutes from the actual city. So it's close enough that we can like take the kids in to do fun stuff, but I'm kind of out of the madness of the city. And I'm literally like just an hour from national forest land and kind of mountains by Virginia standards, like the Appalachian Trail though goes through there, and Skyline Drive is a really famous area, and I'm right by all that stuff. So it's a pretty cool area, man. I don't have any complaints. I wish it was a little closer. I didn't have to like jump on an airplane every time I wanted to like, hunt a mule deer or an elk or something. But It's just part of the territory, so I just take it in stride.
Yeah, that's the proliferation of outdoor content has been great because it's connected us with so many different opportunities. But at the same time, you start to look around and think, man, I don't have this here. I don't have this here. I don't have this here. And it'd be kind
Hmm.
of cool if I did. But then if you save the money, you do your research, you find a way that you can go out and experience those things. It is really cool to be able to do that.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
What was some of your influences, reading wise? Were you looking at magazines growing up for the outdoors? Were you watching films? What were you doing growing
Yeah.
up? Or even, I think you started hunting not too long ago. So what kind of got you in there? And
Well,
what was your first
I
influence?
that's not actually accurate. So I started Western hunting not long ago. I've been hunting since I was like 6 years old. Like my dad took me dove hunting, and then I got my first shotgun when I was 8, and he would take me dove and duck hunting. And then I started bow hunting whitetails when I was about 14. I shot my first whitetail ever when I was 14 with a bow. I shot two that year. The first one was a doe. Then there was a little forky, as you guys would call it. I would call that like a, anyway, doesn't matter. But so that's how I got started hunting. But then kind of found, I guess you would say, Western hunting actually through Alaska. Alaska was kind of my gateway drug to this kind of Western style hunting. So while I'm not a new hunter, it's still it's so different and so many different new skills involved in it that it's almost like I am a new hunter again. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's been really cool and really fun learning. But as far as like media that you were asking about, I definitely remember when I was about 14 when I really got really into bow hunting. I got a copy of Deer and Deer Hunting magazine. I don't know if you've seen that.
Hmm.
But no, okay, it's
Yeah.
just called Deer and Deer Hunting Magazine, and I love that thing. I tore that thing apart. And as far as videos, I was watching tons of the Drury brothers. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
Mark Drury. Okay, so Mark and Terry Drury, they had a crew. They still do. They still do a lot of outdoor media. But those are the guys I was watching because that's the kind of hunting I was doing. And I would see some of the elk and caribou and cool stuff and like be like, whoa, but it seemed so far out of reach at that point. I kind of just focused on whitetails as a younger guy,
Hmm.
and then but recently I've kind of expanded my horizons, which has been awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't really grow up watching any shows. I read Field and Stream a lot, and so that
Oh,
was
oh
I,
yeah,
I
yeah,
like
that
to
was a
read
good one
that. And
too.
Bill Heavey was one of my favorites. A lot of people prefer Patrick McManus, but I was always a big Bill Heavey fan, probably because I found him first, and so
Okay.
just a huge fan of him. And he was in the back east D.C. Virginia area and did a lot
Yeah.
of his misadventures back there. And the thing that I really liked about that was he was clearly competent, but he told a lot of stories that had, instances in which he was, like a buffoon, and so it was
Yeah,
really impressed upon me this opportunity that you have to just be totally real and truthful in the telling of the
for sure.
stories. And if you try to be someone that you're not, it ends up just, I think people can smell it either
Oh,
in the
dude.
writing or they
I
can watch the videos and see it.
Yeah. I realized that from literally if you go back to my first podcast ever, I think I say something like I'm paraphrasing, like I'm not some kind of Steven Ranella. I don't claim to be an expert. In fact, I do kind of make a fool. Like I just did a podcast the other day with someone I like was trying to mess with a elk diaphragm call. I don't know how to elk call yet. And so, but I'm not, trying to act like some amazing elk hunter. I'm just kind of trying to be as real as I can and kind of just be like, hey, I'm not from out west. I didn't grow up in this environment, but I'm figuring it out and kind of try to inspire other guys to take advantage of some of these awesome public land opportunities, out west and kind of because for me, like Western hunting it wasn't just like a new like hobby or something. Like it really was like a huge catalyst of like positive change in my life. And that might sound dramatic, but it's true. Like it was this level of adventure I hadn't really experienced or found anywhere else that I kind of been seeking my whole life. And it gave me a goal and motivated me to lose a ton of weight
Mm.
and get the healthiest I've probably ever been in my life because I had this carrot in front of my like face that was a trip to Alaska that I knew was going to be physically tough, and I wanted to. And that wasn't the only reason, but anyway, it played a large part in making me a better person all around, not just a new hobby or something I just kind of want to do, or just go out and kill animals. You know what I mean? It's more
Hmm.
than that. So anyway, that's why I'm so passionate about it. And yeah, I love it. It's cool.
Yeah, I think having something fun to do makes the other areas of your life very good too. Unless that one thing that you like to do replaces everything else, and so you're like hunting. Have you read Into Thin Air with the Mount Everest disaster in 1996 that John Krakauer wrote a book about?
I have not. I'm probably nowhere near on your level of well-readness. I never was like
It's
very into reading, to be honest with you,
it's
man.
it's kind of a classic book, and there was a movie Everest that came out now 10
I
or so
think I'm
years
familiar
ago.
with the story, but I
Yeah.
definitely didn't read the book.
So one of the guys that has an iconic survival story, Beck Weathers, he says that he goes climbing to chase away this dark cloud of depression because his life, even though he's a pathologist and he has a wife and he has kids, he didn't feel fulfilled, and so he needed to climb, and that was his kind of escape from his life. And it was after he was left for dead and ended up wandering back into camp that he realized how much he actually had. And I think sometimes those of us who like the outdoors, fishing, hunting, or whatever, sometimes we use that as this is my life and this is all my life is, and the rest of my life kind of sucks. And so work is
Yeah.
just something I have to get through. But I think, like you're talking about with that mindset, it can enhance other elements of it. So because I have this great hobby that I love, it brings
Yeah,
joy and fulfillment that then impacts other areas of my life. I'm a better teacher because I have great weekends. I show up refreshed on Monday, and so I
for
can be
sure.
ready to get after it. And so, the kids don't show up with some teacher who just resents and hates his life except for the one day a week he gets to go out and steelhead fish or
Yeah,
something like that. So I think that's a really important thing to have.
for sure, man. And I know some guys get it with playing golf or whatever, but I don't know. I think there's something next level about getting into, again, I don't want to sound cliche, probably does, but whatever. It's true. Like getting into a primal place like that is something more akin to what humankind was actually sort of designed to live like instead of kind of like the, urban environments that we're kind of
Hmm.
in. So just you reconnect with something that's just kind of on a deeper level, I think, than just like, I don't know, going paintballing or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. Well, if it sounds like
I don't know.
you're
Paintballing actually might be
it,
cool
pretty
too.
fun, yeah. And it'd be pretty expensive if you did it all the time, but if you look back to your childhood, there were all these little challenges and things like that you wanted to gain your independence and you wanted to earn the independence, and you just set little goals and little challenges for yourself. And so
Yeah.
if you don't have those anymore, then how are you supposed to cultivate really good self-esteem if you are preventing any sort of opportunity for that sort of growth? And some of these kids I feel bad for that don't have any way to kind of test themselves and prove themselves. And that's boys and
Yeah,
girls. And so in this social norm
for
of
sure.
protecting people from, or calling it toxic masculinity as a blanket statement or a blanket narrative to cover just growth. Just this is a challenge for you, and you
Absolutely.
shouldn't shy away from the
Absolutely.
challenge. This is an opportunity to low and grow and get real confidence rather than some shallow or hollow affirmation. Oh my gosh, you're so
Hmm.
wonderful. Well, I got to
Yeah.
work for stuff too.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
There is no growth without discomfort. And and the world is so focused now on making everything just so cushy, and it's just that's not how you grow, man.
Yeah.
So like a lot of times, honestly, on some of these hunts I plan, there are parts of them that suck a lot,
Yeah.
but the whole experience is always awesome.
What was the worst moment where it was kind of hard to like gloss over with, oh man, this is so great though. Misery is great because
Oh yeah,
sometimes like it sucks horribly.
yeah.
We get to the end and we think, man, I'm glad I went through that, but at the time it was horrible. Is there a moment where you thought this really sucks?
Oh yeah. The one that sticks out for me right now is just it was this year. It's on an episode that'll be coming out in the first season of the show, so it's not released yet, but it's all edited together. And it was me and my friend Luke Dusenberry, and we were way back in the backcountry. Not like way back. We were probably 5.5, 6 miles back, something like that. But it was like 3,500 feet of elevation to climb to get in there. But with ups and downs kind of. And we both, we had pretty heavy packs coming in. Then we had to carry water in, which wasn't that bad. But on the way out, we both had a whole mule deer on top of all of our camp and stuff. So I'm not saying like it was insane or anything, but we weighed our stuff when I got back. I had just about 130 pounds, and I only weigh about 175, 180 at the time. And it was like, just 130 pounds on your back, sloshing for 5.5, 6 miles. And it was heavy, man.
Yeah.
It sucked. I was like, especially the first part was kind of uphill. The last part was a lot of downhill, which is like challenging in its own right. But just the first maybe 2 or 3 miles, just getting used to that much weight. It was definitely times where I was just kind of one step at a time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what sticks out for me from this year.
Do you like I get pissed when I'm hiking out, and so I don't want to stop because I don't want to prolong
Yes.
everything, and so I just go. It might not be super fast, but I just want to keep going. If I do get to the point where I'm pretty spent, I try to just give myself 10 seconds. So sit, rest, lean, whatever it is, give me 10 seconds and just try to I don't want to talk. I don't want motivation. I don't
Yeah.
want music. I don't want anything. I just want to just handle it. Are you just go full speed and then take longer breaks, or how do you I guess chop that up, or how do you approach a heavy pack out?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same, man. I like to just get it done. There are times when you just need to stop for 10 minutes, grab a drink, maybe a quick bar or something. If it's, a multiple hour ordeal. But yeah, I like to get it done as fast as I can. I don't really like to stop and set up and, take stuff out of the pack, anything like that. Or I just kind of want to get it done.
Yeah. There's a couple hunts I've been on with my buddy Jesse, who he's really good at soaking in moments and really good about appreciating all elements of everything. He's not immune to frustration, but we're coming back on a mountain goat hunt, and we decided just to stay one more night on the mountain. The buddy shot the mountain goat, and we just say, we could rush back now and go get a burger, but just stay up here another night. A beautiful night, and so
Yeah.
stayed another night. And on the way back, we got down the most technical spot out of the mountains, and then we just sat for 10, 15 minutes, just kind of BSing a little bit, and it was pretty cool. And then once we got to the last 3 miles, it was just okay. We're head down and go. But it is nice to have those times and not being too much of a rush, but.
For sure, man.
When the weather's good,
there's
it makes a
definitely-
difference.
Yeah, there's definitely those times when you just want to kind of enjoy the moment and soak it in, especially like after a challenging hunt and then you fill your tag and you have that just like that feeling that's probably connected to some deep thing in your brain, like some reward system of like, oh, you just secured food for a month, like reward in your brain type deal. But it's just such a great feeling of accomplishment for me anyway, like after these hunts. So just soaking that in is cool too.
What about when you don't get some?
Oh man, dude, I was super blessed this year. I have had trips where I didn't fill tags. I'm not saying I haven't, but this year every hunt was successful. But yes, I remember last year spring bear had some opportunities fall through and didn't end up filling a tag, and that was tough. I learned a lot though. I learned a lot. And came away, definitely kicking myself in the butt for a few things, but overall it was a great experience and I learned a ton. So
Yeah,
I'm taking those experiences. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm taking that experience into this year where I'm kind of doing my own thing for spring bear, which, I learned a lot from those guys that I went hunting with, and I I wouldn't really know how to find my own spot if they hadn't
Mm.
kind of let me in and showed me some of that stuff. So I'm not going back to their spot, but it helped me to find my own spot that is, I think, hopefully going to be pretty good.
Yeah. What state is that in?
Um, it's in Idaho.
Okay. So yeah, that's a whole different dynamic. My buddy and I are going out bear hunting this weekend. Last year, the first week of
Cool.
May, we went out and looked at a really nice one, but decided not to shoot, and because we have so many more
Nice.
weeks, it's not a if you only have a week or 10 days and you
Yeah.
have this tag, then just to go and sort through and like, well, no big deal. There's still all these other things. It's such a different thing,
Yeah,
and it's hard to
it
understand.
is.
We're just saturated with tags up here, but we do have
Yeah.
to endure a pretty horrible winter.
Yeah, it was a rough winter, but yeah, it's definitely a different dynamic when you're traveling. And of course, adding in the making a show as well. Like
Yeah.
it's definitely a different dynamic. But I enjoy it. I love it, man.
How has the storytelling impacted the hunt? Are there times where you just think, man, I just wish I could just hunt for myself and not have to worry about cameras or angles or getting the right shots? Or do
Yeah.
you really enjoy
Well,
the storytelling? How does that impact your
I
hunt?
don't worry about it. I like that. I like that stuff. So it's not like, oh, I have to film my hunt. It's like I like it. I in fact, my first ever Western hunting trip was in Alaska. It was like a walk-in DIY caribou thing, and we didn't kill anything. I had a couple opportunities, but anyway, long story short, we saw some animals, but didn't fill our tags. Um, so I didn't film that one. But after that, and that was the trip that I was like, this is like what I want to do. This is amazing. Didn't know I'd be doing it to this level, but I knew it was something I wanted to go further down and do more of. But after that, I started filming my hunts. And so I honestly like it's almost weird to not for me at this point. Like I enjoy it. So there are times like I took my son turkey hunting a couple weeks ago, and I did have that like internal struggle of I could probably get a cool episode of this maybe. Should I
Mhm.
like try to get a camera guy? And then I was like, no, I'm just gonna take my little boy turkey hunting, and I'm glad that I did that. And we didn't kill anything, but we saw some, and we had a great time. And so yeah, there's definitely those moments, but I also enjoy it, so I don't see it as like a chore, I
Mhm.
guess.
Yeah, that's good. I think the keeping that perspective is important too. If everything ends up being about angles and whatnot, then I think it like if you
Yeah,
did try to how can I make an episode out of this one with
yeah,
my son, and then it ends up being a look at how what a great father and mentor I am, and then everyone can kind of
yeah.
sense that you're trying
And
to
I
be a
don't.
mentor, and
I,
gross.
I like to tell the story of the hunt, but I never go into a hunt with like a shot list or even a storyline in
Mm.
mind. My thing is, I go there and I want to capture documentary style how this thing went down, and I want to shoot it well. And I want to help. I want to bring other guys on board. They're going to help me shoot it well, so I can also hunt. And then a lot of times I'll turn the camera around on them and get them hunting if they have a tag. I do that frequently. So it's fun, man. I enjoy it. Yeah, kind of went off on a tangent there, but yeah.
No, it's good. What's on the list for this year?
Oh man. So it's not. I have a couple really cool things, but it's not finalized. Because I drew a tag I was not expecting to draw that I'm very excited about, but it just kind of threw a wrench in my logic because I wasn't expecting to draw it, but in a good way. So I'm actually coming up to Alaska at the end of August to do a caribou hunt, which I'm very excited about. That was the first species I hunted in Alaska and the first trip I ever did, like I keep mentioning. So it's kind of special to me to go back. This time it's going to be a really cool trip up on the North Slope where I'm going to get in an airboat and somebody's going to take me up a river, drop me off, and then me and my camera guy are going to hunt and then float out on pack rafts.
Nice.
So yeah, that's going to be an adventure, man. Like, so we got that, and then I drew a Montana general elk tag. That was like just a general tag, 0 point draw in Montana. Um, but then the tag I'm referring to, this kind of the hard to draw tag, is a really good unit New Mexico muzzleloader elk tag, and that was my goal this year, was to kill my first elk. So very blessed to have the problem of trying to squeeze 2 elk hunts in, but the second one's in October, so I'm gonna try to squeeze another hunt in Montana in September. Sorry if I'm being long-winded here, but and then let's see, November I'm going with my buddy Luke Dusenberry. He's gonna help me film and do a hunt about Columbia blacktail because I'm kind of a deer guy, kind of a deer junkie, and so Columbia is actually the last North American deer subspecies I need for my deer slam or whatever. So I kind of want to do that, and I feel like Columbia blacktails are kind of underappreciated, maybe, or under. I don't know. There's just you don't see a ton of great content. I just did a podcast with you did too, I think, with Nathan Endicott. He's got some great stuff, but
Yeah.
anyway, it's a cool hunt that I'm looking forward to that I don't think a lot of guys are really doing much of. So that should be fun. And then I'm going to try to do a aoudad hunt in probably in West Texas in like February, and time that up with the Western Hunt Expo so I can kind of do that one and then go to the expo.
Cool. What were some of the lasting memories or images that stick in your head from the Alaska hunts? Because you've done Kodiak for blacktail too, right?
Yeah, yeah, that was an awesome trip. Moments that stick out, you said?
Yeah. Like, so I remember when I went the first time I was up to the Fairbanks area, and you drive out of town, you just get this, your interior Alaska,
Yep.
and then just seeing that massive expanse where it's vast nothingness except for some rolling hills, and there's tons of nature, but just nothing otherwise. And
Yeah.
North Slope, same thing, just there's nothing out here. Massive expanse. You feel so incredibly
hmm
small.
Yeah, dude. Definitely that brought back some memories. So when you started describing that, the first thing that came to my mind was like a gut feeling because I remember we rented a U-Haul, right? And drove to our hunt area, one of those U-Haul vans you see, because that's like the cheapest rental vehicle, basically. It's kind of a little hot tip there, but I think it's known. But anyway, rented our U-Haul and I just remember having this feeling when we were getting close to our hunt area, of almost like before a big like football or lacrosse I played sports game in high school or even like a wrestling match like that like pre-game jitters kind of feeling like kind of scared excited like oh you know what I mean unknown so that sticks out and yeah just like you said man just looking out over I'm trying to avoid cliches but just over a vast landscape and um you know that you could just walk forever until you die and like you won't hit another town. Like, you know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
Like there's animals in there that will live and die their entire lives, never see a human. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just there and you can get a tag and you can just go and hunt. It's like, it's such a cool like feeling and like, it's just so amazing. So has definitely a special place in my heart. Kodiak was a really awesome hunt too. But that first trip, man, was I mean, it was literally life changing.
Hmm. That's
I'm,
the
I'm not I'm not just saying it, it was.
No, that's what people say. I've had some friends that have come to visit just to visit. Other times we've gone out fishing and whatnot, and they say the same thing. Like there's something in me that I did not know existed, that maybe I thought had been bred out, or the DNA is no longer there, but it is clearly there. There's just something wild about it,
hmm
and it's irreplaceable, and it's pretty
Yep.
special.
But for me, I'd always been searching for that, you know,
Mhm.
and I had never been in a place where I could physically do what it takes to get really truly into like wilderness. You know what I mean? But this is the first time that I was able to do it, and I don't know, it just um it touched on something really deep inside of me that I had felt even since I was a child. This like call of I don't know the wilder. It sounds so I probably sound like so cliche right now, but like literally this I would look at wild places. I remember having this feeling as a child and have this like sorrowful and I don't talk about this much, but I can tell you, I know you're a thoughtful guy. So I would look at these things and I had this like sorrowful feeling like in my chest. And I couldn't explain it, but I figured out what it was. It was like this longing to be in it and to
Mhm.
be a part of it and to like be in that wild landscape. And like that's the only thing that ever fixed that kind of weird feeling I got when I looked at like wild places. So I don't know if that makes any sense or I sound crazy, but um man, something is just yeah That's the best way I can say it.
Yeah, I think once you get that perspective, you start to see how much nothingness we surround ourselves with, stuff that has really no meaning, whereas everything out here is so
Yeah.
rugged. And when you get to those spots and you realize that nature doesn't care at all, and that's good. And if
Yeah.
you are this small, then your problems are even smaller.
Yeah.
And what an unbelievable, this is so good. I think it checks a lot of people's egos. People who think that they are a conqueror of things, they come up to
Yeah.
certain areas and just think, "Oh no, I am nothing." And then other
Yeah.
people, I conquered Alaska. Like, no, you didn't. Like, you were able to
No.
exist here for a limited
Yeah.
amount
You
of time
survived.
with a whole
Yeah.
bunch of technology, and you did that.
For
But
sure.
yeah, it's great, and it's fun to see when people come up here, and they fish or hunt or visit, and the awe that they feel, it makes it
Mm-hmm.
like refresh, and it reminds us sometimes we can just get, it's a no big deal. Maybe I should fish today. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just kind of be lazy. Like, no, man, this is a place of staggering beauty, and you should take every opportunity because you live here. You get to do this stuff. So
Yeah.
when people are in awe and they express that wonderment, it makes things new again. It's really cool to see people who truly appreciate it versus people who are kind of expected bigger and better and then this and that, or I'm
Yeah.
big
That's
ol'
so
whatever,
lame.
man. Shut up. So
Yeah. That's lame. Something's wrong with them. No, but and to me, it just, and showing to me, it shows the evidence of a creator and like a good
hmm
God, and just, I don't know. It's definitely, it's a deeper experience than anything else I know of, honestly.
yeah.
So it's
Where do you
crazy.
where do you think hunting's going to be in 10, 15 years? There's some weird stuff going on with tags, with closures, with do you think that there's going to be a consolidation of newspapers are dying, magazines are the printing thing is anybody can make content. Is there going to be a consolidation of films, a consolidation of written material? Like how do you see things playing out in the next 10, 15 years as far as hunting and content go?
Man, that's a huge question, and I'm so entrenched in just trying to make what I'm trying to do work on my own that I don't really have. It sounds kind of blunt, but I don't really have time to think about. I mean, that's not necessarily true because I am trying to think about how I can innovate, right, and do stuff differently. And but I don't know. I don't think that long term, I guess. And I am kind of buried right now, so I don't have much time to really think 10 years down the line. But I don't know. I hope it doesn't. As far as tags go, obviously, I hope that states continue to manage wildlife appropriately and not like with politics in mind, and not that they operate on sound biology and not like woke politics or something like is stupid. So I hope they can do that effectively and keep politics out. And I think there's a lot of success stories in conservation in North America. But obviously, I hope there's always opportunity for people who want to hunt. Like I did draw that one elk tag. That's a straight lottery. It's not even a point system. So I mean, um, there's a lot of opportunity. See, I don't know what it was like 20 years ago because
hmm
I just kind of got in recently. So I know a lot of people might think doom and gloom, maybe if you were used to how it was a while back. But for me, I don't know, there definitely is still opportunity out there. I mean, I only got into the game of doing this like 3 years ago, I think. So it's not like I have like been buying points since I was 10 years old, or something like, and I'm able to find opportunity and find tags and have good experiences. So, um, I hope that stays the same. I know that hunter recruitment is also a big issue, so we need to be doing that. My kind of thing is not necessarily hunter recruitment, but taking hunters, um, that might live in the Midwest or the East Coast, like myself, and kind of have that dream of going out west, but don't really know how possible it really can be to kind of do it on a limited budget and do it on your own. If you want to pay a guide and all that stuff, that's fine too. I don't have anything against that. But some people, like me, enjoy just kind of doing it. So, but it might seem intimidating, but I'm just like anybody else. Like if I can do it, anybody can do it. So I hope to kind of show some people that, and that's kind of part of it. But again, kind of a rabbit trail. But I'm not really sure, man. Do you have a way you think it's going to go as far as like consolidating media or whatever you're saying?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we have to like recruiting hunters is important, but recruiting also the right types of hunters that are going to
For sure.
represent the lifestyle in a way that's going to be meaningful, and it's going to allow people to look at hunting and think this is everything that they say it is, rather than this is what they say and then this is what they do. And I think
Hmm.
the one of the conflicts that has has been coming up is hunters versus hunters. And when you are a non-local and you go to somewhere else, people are going to chastise you. When I was down in Wyoming, like I'm the visitor, so I'm thinking, man, okay, well,
Yeah.
when people come up to Alaska, if there's someone who is used to just there's a bear, first one to it gets it, that sort of attitude makes me think, come on, man, like this is Alaska, that sort of desperate killing at all costs thing. You don't do that here. But then when I'm down in Wyoming and I'm the one with the tag and I've spent the money and I don't want to go home empty-handed, I have to think, oh, okay, I'm exactly the type
Yeah.
of person here in Wyoming that I hope doesn't show up in Alaska. And I think that sort of
That's true.
that perspective and that reflection makes us, I think, we'd be better guests in those other areas, which would probably reduce that not resident versus non-resident
Yeah.
conflict a lot because I recognize
I'm
I'm in
sh
someone else's backyard, and so
Yeah.
yes, it's public land. I have every right to be here. I have the tag. You have the tag. Everything, but that entitled sort of attitude is not at all necessary.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's amplified in Alaska by just the fact that it's further away, more expensive to get to,
Hmm.
and it probably has this like, people probably have in their mind it's like some magical place. It's like not a real, you know what I mean? It's like fantasy land. They can just go there and do whatever, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, and not that they would even think that or say that, but just mentally, like subconsciously, it's like it's far away, right? It's like so it's probably worse in Alaska as far as like probably some of the mindset of some of the people that come there, but I don't know, man. I hope that, we can continue to have good relations between residents and non-residents because my thing is like I'm not necessarily trying to recruit like the person who's never hunted to like go to the store and buy a gun and like just go walking on public land and like try to shoot something.
Hmm.
Because I don't think that's the way to go about it either. But I am kind of trying to get responsible, kind of good, experienced hunters to take more advantage of the kind of public land that's available out there. Because at the end of the day, like non-resident sales of tags and licenses and stuff like that are like, funding a lot of these game and fish commissions
Hmm.
budgets. So, as long as you go out there and you're being respectful, you're being lawful, you're having a clean camp, you're not being a jerk, you're talking to people, you're being a good human, and you're not being a butthead, for lack of a better word, like there should be no conflict between. And I always try to stop and if you see a local boy rolling through the unit or you know when I was antelope hunting, I saw a local guy struck on the side of the road, and I stopped to ask him if he was all right, and just that conversation led to he gave me some rancher's phone number who I didn't end up getting permission, but he at least tried to help me
Hmm.
out. So people are always willing to help you out if you just don't look at them as like an adversary or like competition if they're other hunters, but just like other humans. They're probably like-minded if they're out there. So
Yeah,
just talk to them and just be a good person and be a good representative and enjoy these public lands that we have.
yeah. I think another thing about the Alaska is like my wife and I ate caribou and deer, and that was we'll get chicken once in a while. We rarely eat out, so this is the vast majority of the meat that we eat is stuff that we procure ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I think when some of the people have like the conflicts up in the Kotzebue area, which is why that caribou hunt got shut down. There's a lot of testimony that was saying people come up here, they're trophy hunters. They don't even take the meat. They don't want the meat. They just want the
Oh,
antlers,
dang.
and that's a hard thing to defend. And that's not every hunter. Like a lot of the hunters are just as excited about the meat as the antlers, but that doesn't.
Oh yeah.
When the rural subsistence board is making their decisions about who can hunt, they're going to side with the locals who, yeah,
Yeah.
this is your meat, this is your livelihood, this is your culture, this is your heritage. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're
I
gonna
totally
keep
get
those other
that.
people out.
That's
So
that's unfortunate, man. And like, yeah, that's terrible. For me, the meat is just as much, if not more, than a trophy. Like I have really no interest personally in like going to like Africa to hunt because I don't know. Like, not that it's wrong, but I personally, like, the meat is a huge deal. And like the thought of not being able to bring my meat, I love like sitting down at the table and like watching my kids and my wife and my like mother-in-law who lives with us. We're all eating together and like enjoying a meal together. And it's like I freaking I freaking e-scouted, went in there, like grinded it out, like had a great experience, like took home this animal, packed it out, you know, figured out the logistics of either cutting it up in a hotel room and getting it in a cooler and like checking on an airplane or paying someone to ship it or whatever it have to do. But like sitting down eating that's a trophy to me too. It's just like, because I'm the same way as you, man. Like we eat probably 90 to 95% wild game meat in our house. So I love that.
Yeah, it's healthy living. That is healthy,
sure.
and that is good living. That's something that should be passed down and amplified in the positives, most positive of ways.
Dude,
What
I
else?
got blessed too because I married a Persian lady and her mom lives with us and they're like the most amazing cooks. Like they can take something that 98% of whitetail hunters in North America throw in the gut pile and make the most delicious meal you've ever had. I promise you.
One of my favorite things is neck stew.
Oh,
Just
dude,
put it in the crock
okay.
pot, man. It's so
Well,
good. I mean,
you
I'll
basically
take
just
10.
nailed it. You basically just nailed what I was talking about. They told me to cut off my spines and bring them home.
Mm.
Like not like after you get the backstrap out and everything, just the spine. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah. And of course, you got to be careful with CWD. In some places, you don't want to eat the actual like stem, whatever, like nerve stem tissue. But they basically pressure cook and then slow cook, like braise the spine. Like they cut it in thirds, and then you can just scrape all that meat off with a fork. It's like because it's all backstrap meat basically. You just couldn't get off the bone, and you just scrape it off. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, we take the bones back for bone broth, and then up here the regulations for salvage are a little bit different. I know in some areas you just have to quarter, and then
Yeah.
take the prime cuts. But up here you got to take the neck and you got to take the rib meat and everything else. So
Okay.
I've done ribs a couple times, and it's not bad. But the blacktail are such small animals that
Yeah.
if you try to cut them out, you're getting this tiny little strip that you just put in the grind pile. If you try to cut them out as like a rack, then it cooks okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, the neck is definitely really, really good.
Neck is
Even during
great.
rut, I've made put that in the crock pot for a while and make tacos out of that. It's real good.
Yeah, dude. I love neck, dude. It's amazing.
So what? Where can people find you? You got a closer? What's your pitch for the show and all that stuff?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, the show's pretty cool. Like I said, it's all like DIY public land hunts that I did from this year. Some of them are actually like a mixed format where I like kind of talk to my cameraman as well, like after the breaks, and then we kind of talk about the hunt. And then other ones I've done a couple episodes with other producers, like from outdoor TV or from like even in the YouTube Western hunting space, and have a conversation and kind of break down a hunt they've done and use some of their footage, kind of sprinkled in as B-roll. And we kind of, I'll even do like a screen share sometimes where we're kind of watching the film together and kind of like talking about it. So it's pretty cool, man. I'm looking forward to it. That launches the last week of June, and that'll run, the whole season will run through the end of the year. But then, yeah, I have my podcast that releases once a week too, the Hunter's Quest podcast. And then I'm on social media, the Hunter's Quest. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. And then my YouTube channel, of course. But
Nice. Is that where the show's going to be on YouTube?
no, the show's going on Sportsman channel.
Okay.
And then it will go to YouTube after it finishes at the end of Q4.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's nice to finally chat with you, man. Good luck this
You
year,
too, dude.
and we'll definitely be in touch.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you.
Take care.
All right, bye.